Buenos dias, dobre den, good morning. For all my followers, subscribers, friends, family, I appreciate you. I introduce myself now with that because vivo en Costa Rica, Centro America. Y hay muchas personas latinos mirando mis videos, muchas gracias. And there are friends and family in Slovakia who also watch my videos, so Nastravie, como se dice, vitage. I'm not caught up on my Slovak, but thank you for tuning in, guys. Most of you speak English anyway, so I appreciate you. And thanks to YouTube and Facebook, because they have AI translating all this stuff. And of course, English is my native language. Here we have some blue Java bananas ripening as I walk over to grab a couple ripe coconuts. Today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I search for and find good quality coconuts that are going to have a lot of meat in them. So there is a differentiation between, as I'm walking through the little coffee farm here at the Jungle Temple, these are all the coffee plants growing. The coconuts we use, or you would like to use if you're living in Central America or a place where there are coconuts, for water, for coconut water, are the green coconuts, of which I have some here harvested already. So these ones are great for the water. Sometimes you can hear it shaking inside. Let me grab another one. No, none of them are giving me the shake sound. But anyway, these ones are great for coconut water, but if you want coconut meat, those ones not so great. What you want to look for are these guys. I'm going to find a really big one. So as they ripen, they will fall to the ground. And you can hear, yep, that meat's already separating inside. And there's water, and there's a ton of them here. So what you'll also see are some sprouting coconuts. Oh, that one's stuck under there. But here's a sprouted. So if you look back to my previous videos, this gives that nice kind of marshmallowy, yogurty type coconut interior. So we should say there's three types. The green are good for coconut water. These guys are the sprouted coconuts, and it's got that like yogurty, kind of gelatiny, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's magic. The interior, super tasty, super nutrient rich. And underneath, a coconut tree, you're gonna get all three variations. Hello to the parrots, beautiful green parrots. And then, like I said, the brown coconuts, or the ripe ones, are the ones we get really good coconut meat from. It gets the thickest. So I'm just walking through the little river here, the Quebrada, that runs through my property. I'll do a little 360. So it's coming from upriver, up the mountains, and then it finds its way down and flows to the ocean, eventually down through Palo Seco. So you see, here we go. There's lots of sprouted, tons of them. I have thousands, so please come visit and help me and do this yourself. I'm walking over to a place where there's a larger set of coconuts. All my trees are different here, but there's one that has much larger coconuts. These guys over here, you see? And on the ground, they just fall naturally. This is a nice, good size brown coconut to use for the meat. So I found, the small ones are also good, but they're a little more difficult to get the meat out because, as you'll see in a few moments, I pull the meat out using a machete. If you think about it, the smaller the coconut, the more risky extracting the meat with the machete is, because it's circular, or spherical, I should say, and you've got to cut at a slight angle. So if you have a larger interior, a larger sphere, it's less of an angle to cut. That's just physics. And I learned in my first few experiences doing this, if a machete slips, it can cut you pretty badly, gouge you pretty badly. And just as all the fruit grows really rapidly in Costa Rica and Central America, so do infections. And it's not always the crocodiles that are going to kill you. It could be a bacteria, a microscopic thing. So you got to be very careful. Anyway, to the point, today's video, I'm going to show you how to cut open and extract coconut so that if you're doing this, you have the expedited version and you don't have to make the same mistakes I did when I first started. But nonetheless, I'm going to show you some of the areas that I, through trial and error, learned how to do this. I made some mistakes, took longer roads to get there, and then I figured out some hacks. So that's what this video is about, how to most efficiently extract the meat from a coconut. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, back. So here's the coconut. The safest way to do this is to obviously get it on a flat surface, not on soil, simply because, you know, something harder is better. If you have a big flat rock or pavement concrete, that would be ideal because you want surface resistance, so it's not just digging into the dirt. It makes it a little bit easier. Your tool will be a machete. Specifically in Costa Rica, this is our tool of trade. The shorter the machete, the better, because it's closer to your hand, so you have more control over it. Where if you see me cutting the grass and trimming trees and stuff, I use a longer machete. It's about twice the length. This one is helpful because, like I said, you have a little bit more control and it's not swinging all over the place. So you'll find direct center and do your best. It's going to take a couple knocks because the surface, and I'll show you here, green coconut, it's much easier to just kind of tap and slice through it very easily. Once it starts ripening, the skin becomes a little more, let's say, malleable and flexible, so it's not as easy to slice right through. So you've got to hit it really hard, nice and strong in the center, and then it's stuck in it, so you can bang on the ground a few times. You'll see the water come out that's remaining, which is fun. You get covered in coconut water. And then you can pry it open. So I'm going to remove the machete, and you'll see as I open it up, really, really, really good coconut meat. All right, now I'm going to show you how to extract it. We learned how to open it. So what you can do is just peel. A lot of this will just, fibrous material will peel off. Not so easy sometimes, but you can see once it does peel off, oh, we got a puppy over here, Mr. Astro. So it does kind of come off fairly easy sometimes, but sometimes it's a little more challenging. And what I will do here is cut this in half. The dogs love this, that's why he's waiting by the side. So I will actually chop this again in half, or a little, piece. I didn't get real accurate there. And then there's a shell, a harder shell that comes off, and that's not the shell, that's just part of the meat that's got the color of the shell, but you can eat this right away. It's fantastic. So that was an easy way. But what I'll show you now, here, Astro, come here. They love the coconut meat, really good for them, and it's actually a good flea control too. So once it's in their bloodstream, it'll come out their pores as oil. So look what I'm doing. You stick the machete in between that harder shell and where the meat is, and just kind of wedge it around. All right, I'm gonna go slowly. Sometimes pieces will crack off, but the idea is get in between the meat and that shell. Don't move too fast, because if that machete slips, you're gonna cut yourself. You can hear it kind of cracking off. And I'll just show you. I'm gonna lift it up a little, and you get your meat out, and it just pops right out. So this is your little hack to easily get the coconut meat out, so you're not struggling, smashing things all over the place. Excuse me. So good. Here. He's the lucky dog that watches me do these samples, so he gets to eat everything. The other ones will get stuff later, don't worry. Oh, who's that? Jazzy? They love it. Hey, let me get this out properly. All right, so again, I'm wedging it in between the shell and the meat, being very careful with the machete. not necessarily moving the machete too much, but moving the shell, and the machete kind of stays in place. I just do little back and forth, so I'm not putting my fingers at risk. But as you'll notice, good strong gloves will help you from little nicks and cutting your finger off. Oh, you love it, huh? So good for the dogs, good for humans. There's your hack on how to extract coconut meat from a ripe brown coconut. Now I'm gonna do the rest of this, feed it to the dogs, and that's their morning snack. Thank you guys for tuning in. I love you, genuinely. Thank you for watching these videos and sharing them. Whenever you're in Costa Rica, come by the Jungle Temple near Parita, and I look forward to seeing you. Happy dogs. You like that, Jazz? Little gringa from New Jersey now eating fresh coconut. And I'll just give it to them like a toy like that, and they can scrape it out. Dogs are really smart with the coconuts. All right, and then just storage. I keep them in these Tupperware containers or even glass containers, but these are easy because I can travel with them. And I keep them in the freezer so they're nice and cold, and that's the end result. So you get really, really good chunk pieces when they're colder. It's a wonderful snack. I take these on the road with me when I'm going on little bus trips or trips to the beach. When I know I'm not necessarily going to be around like a restaurant or something like that for a couple hours. Late night snack. It's not too sugary. It gives you that satiation from sugar without, keeping you up and having any type of artificial sugar, like something like oatmeal would be, or cakes or cookies or pastries or something like that. Also good for like a starter breakfast. Fantastic. So if you haven't gotten into coconut meat yet, I highly recommend it. If you're in the tropics and you're able to harvest it yourself, you don't have to do too much hard work. For the green coconuts, you usually have to get a pole with a blade and cut them down off the top of a tree. I don't know if you can see, it's not as swollen anymore. I'm not giving you the finger, but I almost broke my finger the other day harvesting a couple dozen coconuts for coconut water. One of them came down at me and I thought it was going to hit me in the head. So being a basketball player, instinctively, I put my hand up to try to catch it, and it smashed into my middle finger, which extends the longest. And I thought I broke my finger. I thought I was going to the hospital. I thought I fractured. I heard a crack, but it was just like hitting the joint, this lower joint here. And then for 2 days, it's been super swollen. It's starting to come down now today. Just to reference a video I'm going to be making soon, turmeric is anti-inflammatory and high in antioxidants. So I've harvested curcuma, turmeric recently. I always say turmeric because my New Jersey accent, but it's turmeric. There's an R there. And I've been putting that in my coffee, and within a day, the swelling went down. So if you're having issues with inflammation, whether it be from an injury or a muscle tear or just general inflammation in your life, if you have like a gluten allergy or anything like that, turmeric, ground turmeric, especially organic where you know it's coming from, that's going to help you. So that video will be coming soon. It's a bit of a longer process. You have to dry it in a slow dryer or a dehydrator for about 12 hours. But I'll be going over that soon. Today, coconut meat, how to harvest it easily without injury, and how to store it properly. And again, I'm going to be drying these in the dehydrator so that I can have them for longer term snacks and just keep them in like a bag or a glass jar kind of on the counter rather than taking up freezer space. But anyway, this is an amazing snack. If you haven't yet gotten into it, I'll be honest, I never liked coconut growing up on like candy and stuff. The shredded coconut, it seemed so artificial and didn't taste too good to me. But since living in Costa Rica, this is a main part of my diet and I highly recommend it. Drink coconut water. Obviously, it's become a fad recently, but coconut meat is even more nutritious and super good snack. You know, the natural sugar you get from it is very satisfying and it's not going to mess with your blood sugar at all. So diabetics, this would probably be good for you too, but consult your doctor or nutritionist before you take my advice. I'm just a YouTuber. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Hit me up in the comments below if you've harvested your own coconut meat, and tell me some of the mistakes you've made or some hacks that you could recommend to other people. And guys, thank you again for tuning in always. Come visit the Jungle Temple in Costa Rica. I will share this with you for free, I absolutely promise. But bring me something to trade. That's how we work here. I love seeds for chili peppers. I want to grow a massive chili pepper farm here. I only have about 10, 12 varieties now. So if you're coming, go to Pepper Joe's website, get me a variety of seeds, and I will give you tons and tons of value and fruit in exchange, I promise. Pura vida.